as Ed said. It is the penultimate round of Swiss, and I still believe that this word is completely made up by him. I've never heard anyone else say this. There is no card with the word penultimate in there.
Let's see how Danilo does this. And I mean, we talked about Danilo here, and Danilo starts with Perulia in his very, very, very own turn. So that's interesting to see, but he follows it up with the Anguage. And I mean, we lost a lot of words for Danilo now, but Denis is also here for a reason, because he is 8-1-1 in terms of score too, and he's doing it with a crazy deck, which is the Regenesis deck. And he's having a very unique take on it personally, actually, because he's bringing the, and we haven't seen those in a while, he's bringing the Dogmatica cards with it.
It's a good value engine. The Nadir Servant is one of the best cards ever.
I mean, Regenesis struggle a lot going second, so you have to actually put an engine that can help the going second strategy, like Castilla, as we saw in previous events, and right now Dogmatica with Nadir Servant that can play around fields.
Yep. There's another question, Draw and Lockbird, how impactful is it really versus Memento? I always found that it is kind of still disturbing, even though you still get to combo a lot, your turn still takes a few minutes, but it is not as safe anymore. You don't get to access Memento Mictlan, and you have struggles sometimes to get your names into the graveyard because you also don't go over the Twin Dragon line.
I mean, yeah, that's two things you mentioned, and also additionally to that, the effect of Memento Fusion in the graveyard cannot be used. So that's already 3 things that it checks. Still, you will be able to do a big field, but it's at least doing something, you could say.
The follow-up lags.
Yeah.
And mini note behind the Perulia on Danilo's turn is actually very good to activate Perulia if you had it going first, in order to play around Beastels and Nibiru.
Yeah. Absolutely, well done by Danilo.
Was countered by Draw and Lockbird immediately.
You may as well. And it's interesting to see that Danilo, even though he did not make it through the points playoff with this very Memento deck, he is still very, very, very confident that this deck can perform in the current format, and that it will be able to carry him through to the World Championship. And this far, it is doing a very, very good job with that.
I'm quite curious as to what we are sending here with Tekutlika, because of course Akihiron is going to be able to play around Draw and Lockbird a little by being destroyed later, even though you still have to find ways to destroy it. We're sending Darkblade. I thought it was quite smart to see the Memento Mictlan there, but then if you send Memento Mictlan and add it back, you barely have any way to get another spell and trap card in the graveyard later on, unless you're destroying Sleepy. But right now I think Danilo is having struggles getting all of those valuable resources like Akihiron, etc. to get into the graveyard immediately on this turn. Now we're already going for the combined creation here.
Hold on, I think that might be it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't see many more ways to extend here, so this might literally be only these 2 cards. And when you have seen a Memento deck before, that is quite minimalistic for a field. So Denis and his Draw and Lockbird certainly did the trick here.
Yeah, it does quite a lot to the deck. You have no access to Mictlan, and sometimes you can't even access your Fusion as well. If you don't have plenty of extenders, like your 1-card combo really gets damaged by it. If you have multiple cards, you can play around it quite well. If you have more engine in hand, you get to play around a little more. This is Regenesis core immediately. And Danilo doesn't need to read the cards. But this is interesting. He knows what's up.
He knows it. He's a master of the game. He has been playing so much this season, so he certainly has faced this before as well. And we are summoning out the Regenesis Archfiend, which is, of course, pretty much the most powerful card of the theme, right? Because it is just your searcher, and it is searching indeed right now.
And also, it recycles a card from the banishment, which is very huge in the grind game. And I really love the fact that a searcher not only starts your plays, but also gives you resources after turn 1.
Yeah.
We see Danilo considering whether he wants to go for Mace immediately or whether he wants to go through the Sleepy first, maybe as well, because Sleepy could then go for, of course, the Horned Dragon, which we didn't, the Twin Dragon, which we didn't use on the first turn, so that works.
That is perhaps a little bit of a risky line, because now you really need to get your Creation King off, because you cannot do anything with Sleepy just yet, because you haven't destroyed anything, so you can't special summon it out. You really need to use Tekutlika combined Creation King, and you have to activate it now, because otherwise the Sage is hitting the field, you won't get to destroy anything. So you have to use your interruptions immediately to destroy the Anguage. And now you get to actually use the Sleepy and probably go into a Twin Dragon line together with the Tekutlika Creation King on the field, yes.
That is early, I have to say. That is immediately Danilo committing into pretty much all of his interruptions. He does go for the Twin Dragon now, and he's probably going to search the Mace. There it is.
But I love this line
And
because
follow up.
Regenesis is not the deck that just OTKs you out of nowhere on their turn.
True.
So you say basically, okay, I will use the resources I have the best I can immediately so I can get the maximum cards out of it and then try to outgrind you.
And a very good strategy to counter Regenesis is to clear
Yes.
the field, and
Yes.
so they cannot summon the other Regenesis monsters. Because
Totally.
except from Arsvin, all the other ones. And speaking of Dogmatica, Ecclesia hits the field.
Yep, that is the cards we are relying on to, and we're searching for Dogmatica Punishment, interestingly enough, because
Oh, wow.
yes, we do play that, but I think the whole idea behind
Yeah.
playing, okay, that explains, because we also have Nadia's Servant, which serves multiple purposes here. It is going to get us the other monster that we need from the Dogmatica engine, which is the Dogmatica Fleur Delis, the Knighted, which quite handily has 2,500 attack and defense points, so it is enabling our good old Regenesis monsters, but also it is going to send that boosted Cephalosaurus to the graveyard there.
Flirtidis, I was remembering that it somehow gains attack, but that is if you attack with a Dogmatica monster, you can let all of them gain 500 attack. I think
But
even
she cannot
permanently.
summon himself, right?
I think he can summon it himself as long as you have Ecclesia.
No.
Right? Wait.
If,
monster
if it's
spec-
Ecclesia and it's
wow.
on the field, gains the effect to negate a monster,
True.
but he needs a monster from the extra deck on the field in order to be summoned.
Oh, that is crazy.
And now Denis has been locked from his extra deck also.
That's
so I
true.
think Danilo will not commit to probably a fusion summon.
Yeah.
Oh, Branded Regain. Very, very good card for long games, but nothing that immediately helps you here really to get something going right on the spot.
Not the one you want to draw as well. You would rather have something like a Lubellion there, the Bestial Lubellion, to get you into those big grind games. Banish something from the
Oh, but there is a
opposing side.
Bestial. That's huge. Because there is a Dark Monster, so this serves so many purposes. We get a 2,500 attack point monster onto the field, we get a draw with the Regain, and we get one Memento name out of the graveyard for Denis, for Danilo as well, but the 2,500 attack point monster not there anymore.
Danilo knows exactly what's up in this
Hold on
matchup.
though, it's still on the field,
True.
and that's all the Regenesis cards need. It is still there, so we can special summon out anyways.
Oh, the exec doesn't exactly know what's
no,
up,
Danilo!
apparently.
He was so confident on the Regenesis cards, but it doesn't matter where they at. You just need one on the field and then another Regenesis is flying in. This time it's the Warrior.
He only has Earth monsters on the field, so he can't even use the effect of Baldrake to banish something on summon. Even though that is from the extra deck. Oh, Ritual.
And
Fair
Ritual,
enough.
in any case.
Yeah, there is
Probably not
Dogmatica
going to
Ritual
happen.
cards.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is Dogmatica Ritual cards.
Okay, Battle Phase attacks over
oh.
the Sleepy, which is going to use its effect.
Yeah, you can send Akihiro now if you want to basically protect you from destruction, but
Or
nothing
Gatic
will be
also.
nothing would be destroyed in this turn anymore, I think, if you send Akihiro anyway. So Gatic is actually a really, really smart choice.
Take back Sleepy maybe. in order
gotta
to have
realize, though,
fusion summon your turn.
That's set up right now for Denis with the Dogmatica Punishment, with the Regained. It's not even that bad. Also, the Baldrake is going to
Yeah.
return to his side of the field. This is not going to be easy to crack back for Danilo then on turn
To be
3.
honest, it is going to be... no, the Warrior bounces, right? Because otherwise you could just turn Tekutlika into attack position and attack everything at once.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
would
we're
be...
sending Fusion there. That's good for follow-up reasons.
Yep, that would be an incredibly easy way to play around this. Also, Danilo still has a mystery card set in the Spell and Trap Zone, so let's see what that is going to be all about.
Memento Fusion maybe? Could be a potential.
I mean, then he wouldn't have sent it, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
he waited for battle phase in order for Felderis to not be able to be summoned.
Oh, that's so good. Get rid of the Baldrake. So it's not an issue anymore next turn. And we do get value out of it even by making it a Goblin now. Oh, but the Baldrake, right back, of course, through the Branded Regain. That's cool.
Yep, you still, of course, have to activate it there to get the full value out of the card, but this is, of course, not ideal, the Baldrake being back. I was gonna say, if you Goblin Biker Grand Breakout immediately after the Baldrake summon, then you're good to have your opponent not play anymore, but Regain does the job.
And another thing that Regenesis kind of struggle against is a monster with high stats, to be honest.
Yeah.
So the Memento Creation is a very good contender to counter Regenesis.
I agree, for sure. And now what? We have to play around the fact that there is Dogmatica Fleur Delis in the hand of Denis. So whenever we access our extra deck for Danilo, that will be a factor. Thing though being, Memento doesn't necessarily need that. Like alone, that creation there on the field can create so much damage on its own if it's just attacking the entire field. So that might just be the game plan here.
Or maybe to force to destroy Ecclesia first before he summons a monster and wants to activate an effect.
Wait, can you activate Goblin on your own turn from the hand?
Yes, you can.
Because then you actually just try to get the Goblin to your hand, you activate it, you force out the Warrior, and then you special summon out the Tekutlika in attack position again and attack over everything, no?
The thing though is, the Fleur-de-Lis doesn't target, so Fleur-de-Lis would still be able to negate something.
But you don't have anything from the extra deck on the field.
Yeah, true. No, that's right.
I think if you get during the main phase, yeah. Warrior does target, right?
So indeed you are a Memento Master, right? You are a Memento Master, right?
Apparently. But I don't see a way how to get rid of the Gatic without going battle phase.
He has a Memento Fusion on Grave, I believe.
Yes. Yes, Mike. Yes, he does.
And there is the Memento Fusion not in the grave anymore, but back to the hand because we just added it back with the Gatic. But it will, of course, then find its way into the graveyard eventually again. And also, just Fusion summoning into the Creation King actually just is pretty good as well because it can just destroy itself. And there's Forbidden Droplet next to it. That's huge. It cannot negate the Warrior anymore, though. But the Warrior also wasn't used, right? Did we use the...
So.
The Sage probably was used.
I mean, you need to tribute a card, right?
Yeah.
Looks like Sage negating Baldrake, and this is absolutely huge. Danilo wants to go for a safer, or he really wants to go for a bigger combo here. Can't blame him. It's a lot of fun to combo with Memento.
And as per usual, maybe we just want to go for 2 direct attacks with the combination of Creation King and Combined Creation when Akihiron allows us to do so.
It's looking really, really good for Danilo right here.
Oh, and now we can also activate the effect, of course, of Combined Creation on our own turn. Usually this only happens on the opponent's turn, but now also on that turn. And there is Chain Link free. The effect of Fleur-de-Lis now, though.
And punishment is still on the spell and trap zone. However, I don't know if there is an extra deck monster so big in order to destroy like the Memento Creation.
And look at this.
Very true.
The double Combined Creation. Or Creation King, I'm sorry. But also the Combined Creation still next to it. I don't know when I've ever had 2 of them next to each other on the field, to be honest. That is very rare to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, Danilo planned this out very, very nice because he, in the beginning, thought, hey, I might activate the effect to just get Memento Mictlan immediately. Oh, you can use both of them?
What do you mean, both of them? Yeah, you can. Not in the same chain, but you can use them in the same turn. Dogmatica Punishment now, though, on the Gatic. I mean, you can just send Entis, and then Entis does not care anymore about what attack points are left on the field because you can just destroy any kind of card on the field, really.
Yeah, Memento Goblin would have been such a nice way to play around all of that.
That's true.
But how much damage is just attacking over everything? Oh, that's more than enough.
I would also think so.
And I mean, Denis' defenses are starting to getting really low right now. I think that he has pretty much used a lot of his interactions.
Malong is something we can do to actually make sure we put something back into the extra deck here. That is kind of a neat tool. Not something you see that often, to be honest. It was used as an Ultimate Slayer target against Blue Eye specifically sometimes. But it is also in the extra deck here from Denis as a Dogmatica Punishment target. And Danilo considering whether he wants to do something about it. But nope, that card is back into the extra deck. But instead, Akihiron is back to the field.
I mean, that just looked like game, right?
Yeah.
Just unless I think the Tekutlika Combined Creation might be negated at this point.
Nope.
The Fleur-de-Lis, or did we...
We negated the fusion monster with it. Now we search Bone Party, another entrance of Droll and Lockbird, but the good thing about Bone Party is a quick spell, so if we really wanted to search with it, we could just chain it here, or worst case, we could also just special summon out.
But is that not 10,000 damage?
I think you just... Hold on. You chain the Bone Party here, you search with it, and then you just activate the Bone Party in the graveyard to attack over everything, right?
Yes.
Isn't that the way to go? That's what it seems
like.
like.
Bone Party just gives piercing. Everything is in attack position.
Oh yeah, you're right. True. Oh wait, we do use Bone Party though. Anyhow, we attack over everything, and Memento just has plenty of funny ways to end the game, and that is one of them. First game goes to Danilo.
And I really love the fact how Memento strategy can OTK through so weird scenarios and interactions.
It feels so terrible to play against Memento, and you're like, I have to use my last interruption somewhere. If you don't stop them with your last interruption completely, then they will 100% find a way to OTK you. There is so many ways.
Sure.
Akihiron effect, or Tekutlika plus Bone Party if you thought you were smart to summon everything in defense position. There is so many ways, so many secret effects.
And the cool thing even is, sometimes you're just stuck with too many monsters on your own side of the field. Luxury problem to have for a deck, but sometimes Memento has that because they're like, yeah, I really want to have just my Tekutlika to just attack all of their monsters to go for a game. But then there's a really cool thing you can do. You can just go into some Link summons all the way up into Access Code Talker. Then Access Code Talker just banishes itself to destroy like a spell and trap card. And voila, you can just go and attack with the Tekutlika, which is really, really strong of a move.
Yeah, but sometimes even that's why Book of Eclipse has also been such a popular card in the deck, because versus some decks it's a phenomenal field-breaking card. You take away their interruptions. For example, something that happened to me was White Forest. Just no interruption anymore, and then you just go Tekutlika with the good old breakout. Bone Party.
Yeah, that was the Bone Dance from your that you would perform in a Bone Party.
In German, actually, it's translated Bone Dance, and at the Austrian National Championship commentary, Basti served us with a fantastic Bone Dance.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
This is the official Bone Party dance?
Yeah, exactly. If you ever go to a Bone Party, you have to do this dance.
Absolutely, but Danilo, it takes some mental strength to not do it on Friday and then just come back on Saturday morning being like, I will do this anyways. I want to go to the World Championship. This was my goal this weekend, so I may as well now do it through this way.
Danilo definitely has the mental strength to pull this off. So strong in this tournament, still sitting at the higher tables. The duelists are ready. Let's go into game 2. But then again, you have Denis, the underdog with a Regenesis strategy, something that has not been as popular as all of the other decks since it came out. It was something that people said had potential, but nobody quite figured it out. Now look at this, an 8-win, 1-loss, 1-draw record at the European Championships. This is the highest level of competition that you can find in Europe, and he's doing perfectly well with the deck. And of course, there's always a little bit of an advantage of your opponents not knowing exactly what to do, and now Regenesis, the core card of the spell, is being activated.
And Roland Lockbird though, searching a searcher is always harsh when Roland Lockbird is the first thing that your opponent activates. Still able to summon the Archfiend, but it's not going to be searching anymore.
And roll, I guess, a Regency Dogmatica deck is especially very good.
Wow, just one sad card of the Warrior. That is not quite crazy of a field, but looking at the hand of Danilo, once again, I think Danilo right now is thinking, I am blue, because every single card in his hand is a spell card, so he has no way to play.
Dabba dee dabba die, that is not looking very good for Danilo right here. This is something that does happen. Bone Party is such an incredibly strong card, but if you don't have anything to destroy, the card doesn't do anything. Memento Mictlan is your brick of the deck that you basically never want to draw unless you get rolled by your opponent.
And I mean, this is kind of a flashback to our round 1 World Points playoff featured match on Friday, because there was Danilo against Ben, and same thing happening to Danilo, just not having any card to play with on his turn.
But he won that.
He did win it in the end, and I wouldn't rule Danilo out for this game either just yet, but there's already 2 big monsters on the field for Denis, so it's not looking pretty right now.
And I mean, the biggest opponent of Memento is actually itself. It has, to be honest, the only thing that it scares most is breaking and do not have any play. Otherwise, can play around every deck.
We keep. Oh, we picked up. I think we picked up a monster, and it is a Memento monster. Even that's huge.
If you have Bone Party that actually still plays, I mean, you drew into the Tekutlika. I think we have all of the Memento spells in hand right now. We have Fusion, we have Bone Party, and we have Memento Mictlan. Bone Party is being activated.
if there is a response to this, this might still be a huge problem, but it is resolving. This is massive here for Danilo. He said it. He won the game on Friday where he bricked, and he may be able to also take this game here, even though he couldn't play on his first turn.
But he really needs to find a line that plays through things. There is a warrior on the opposing side of the field, and Denis also, I think, has the trap card of the deck theme Regenesis Birth, which can put a card face down. So if you go for Tatsuno Toshigo, then this is probably something that you can't even get rid of with a Forbidden Droplet.
I mean, since Danilo has already the droplet, he's probably going for monsters that have trigger effects on summon, to be honest, in order to play around traps.
That's true, you still have your normal summon, that is also really cool, but also you have fusion, so you can activate that if your monsters get put face down. So now Danilo is in here, now he has ways to play the game. Goes for a Sleepy here. We have already destroyed something, of course, so Sleepy is a very, very nice card.
That is true. Sleepy is good. The problem with Sleepy, though, you can't really send it for Droplet because then you just don't have enough monsters to fuse with anymore. So the good thing, though, is you just have two ways to fuse here, essentially. So you go for Sleepy, try to fusion someone with that, and if that somehow gets stopped, you can just go for the Memento fusion anyways.
I am a little bit concerned about Mementotlan Twin Dragon with no other card in hand getting booked.
Oh, Dogmatica Punishment is in there, but destroying a Sleepy sounds like something very dangerous because it actually does have an effect on distraction of itself.
Yeah, but I think that he's forced to activate droplet now, so Punishment does not have a target to send a monster from the extra deck.
Yep, you can quote-unquote dodge the
or
punishment.
Fusion.
That would also work with the fusion now.
The question is now, do you actually still go for the Twin Dragon, or do you go for the big guy here? You are only going to fusion summon this turn once. Now you can actually just chain Droplet and put your monsters in the graveyard if you want to negate something, because you're going to be able to fusion from the graveyard. Anyways, even though you're losing names in the graveyard.
Yeah, at this point I think that Droplet should be remain set or even activated.
It is the Droplet. Sends the Mementotlan fusion.
That makes sense.
Make sure to negate. But I mean, so yeah, we only have one fusion summon now. And that is going to be sort of interesting for me or not, because we use every single Memento name in rotation to commit into this very Creation King now. So it is very vulnerable as well to an Infinite Impermanence or an Effect Veiler or something like that.
But I think you need to go for this. If you're going into the Twin Dragon, there's just too many outs. I mean, everybody knows that Regenesis Trap is going to put your monsters in face down defense position. If you have no other card to destroy for your Twin Dragon, then it's super risky to go for that. Gives you a loose condition. I think Danilo might as well be at 0 cards in hand at this point.
Memento Fusion can destroy any monster, not only face-ups, right?
That is true, so that's a way to play on after that. Then you still have monsters in the graveyard, so you could technically... but they don't do anything, necessarily. You still have your normal summon as well, which is good. The cards that you search off of the Memento Fusion, they don't really do anything. Oh, Ghost Ogre. Snow Rabbit on the Creation King.
Hold on. I mean, we can still send Gaddick. And Gaddick just gets us any kind of normal summon we want, which we can send alongside it, so...
yeah.
I feel like this is not too big of a concern with that Ghost Ogre. And on the other hand, though, when are you going to get good value out of it, though?
In the end phase on Memento Mictlan, if you get to an end phase, I really also don't see it. But if you are not super well versed with the Memento strategies, then I can also see Ghost Ogre there. But maybe you go for a Link some.
Oh, you can't Bestial this. We know there's still a Bestial in hand for Denis, but there's no monsters on the field.
You can Bestial this. You can Bestial the Darkblade, though.
That would have worked. That was a bit risky, actually, but it does resolve. We do know about the Bestial, don't we? There was a Lobellion on the last turn,
That is true, but I mean, what else are you going to send? The other useful normal summons are Goblin and Mace, and all of them can get Bestialed.
Yeah, but like, why didn't we Bestial then?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Memento Mictlan now. Normal summons the Darkblade.
We don't have another name in hand, if I remember correctly, to discard this. So we cannot destroy the last spell and trap card. The monsters on the field are negated. We know that Denis has a Bestial, and I don't know if he has anything else in hand. Ghost Struggle was used as well. I mean, we could count cards.
There is Regenesis Birth now, though, and I mean, this works decently well, too, because we can now just make sure that it goes face down. And then, the funny thing is, searching Tatsuno Chogo all of a sudden is not that great anymore because you do not have all Memento monsters on the field anymore. But I mean, we can't search for it anyways. We have activated Bone Body, we have activated Fusion, so the Fusion in the graveyard is not really doing that much here anymore, besides just triggering the Akihiron, right?
You can still special summon that card. You need to control no other face-up monsters.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
Memento monsters, so that still should work. But I mean, how are you going to search it?
Yeah, you're right.
You still have the Fusion, and you can destroy the Darkblade. The Memento Miglan will check in the graveyard what level the Darkblade is.
Yes.
So you can still special summon out the Anguish from there, and you get to search a spell that you won't be able to use this turn. But you can...
I think that
the Anguish
doesn't play Fiendsmith, right?
No, but you have Sleepy in the graveyard. I think you're fine. If you have Sleepy and Anguish, you can just special summon out...
You can go Maze as well. Maze is able to search the Tatsuno Chogo.
Yeah, but where do you get it from? You need to find a way to destroy... You can trigger Akihiron, and you can special summon back the Anguish. So if you do that, you can destroy the Akihiron to summon back the Sleepy, perhaps go Battle Phase Crash Sleepy to send the Tekutlika Combined Creation. That would be a way to get that card, but that's not necessarily what you want either.
There's plenty of options, but none of it seems like they immediately do
What's in the extra deck? Do we have some big resources there? What kind of a toolbox are we playing? Because if you're not playing Fiendsmith Engine, you have plenty of cards that you could just play.
Yeah, it's a very common approach to the pure Memento strategy here, I would say, because we see the Herald of Mirage Lights, which also Flaminio Rossi was very famous for it, playing at Italian Nationals, where you won it all with Memento. And then there also is the Paradise Smasher, which has been super, super popular lately, but I don't think we're going to get to 3 level 5 monsters here this turn. And besides that, just a way to climb into Access Code Talker and things like that.
Also, I want to take back something that I said. I said that you can summon back the Sleepy with Anguish. That is, of course, not true. You need to have a level 2 or lower. It's such a difficult spot for Danilo, because most of the time when you have 3 monsters on the Memento side, you're good to go. Everything is just working in your favor here. But Danilo is actually having quite some trouble, I think.
At this point, I think that probably Link Climb may be the option for Danilo.
Yeah, Dark into Celine, into Access Code Talker, something like that.
Is there any Dark, though, in Denis' graveyard?
Oh, wait, is there a Dark monster in his graveyard? That's a good question, actually.
Archfiend is Earth, right?
Archfiend's
Earth.
Is Earth, indeed. The Bestial Rebellion, of course, is Light, so that also wouldn't work either.
I mean, you could just use your other last monster to make a Celine, but
you don't need to get the extra monster, that's true.
That's not necessarily happening. And we're going for a Sleepy Crash. I think we need the Combined Creation.
And that brings us down in life points a lot. Oh, hold on, though.
Oh,
into the hand it goes, so we just crash into something else.
It's just tributed, and that's also kind of funny, because in the end phase you just get it back there.
Yeah. That's nice. It is negated, but of course it can still activate its effect. That's perfectly legal. Now, going down to 1,300 life points. Danilo is living a dangerous life here, but he is still in this, and he needs this send from Sleepy to the graveyard to finally have access again to his boss monster, to the Combined Creation.
I mean, you're going to have a rather huge setup, if I'm being honest, there after this turn, but there is, of course, going to be resources for Denis. Does Regenesis Birth also put your monsters in face-down defense position on your turn? Probably, right?
It's a trap card, so I would imagine so, yeah. Okay, that looks like an SP Little Knight to me there that we are considering. The good old classic from Memento. Of course, how did I not mention that card when I was looking through the extra deck? Basically the best card in the extra deck of any Memento player. Some people even jokingly saying that every Memento end field is just SP pass. Cannot confirm.
Oh, I think Danilo is considering, okay, to put the Anguish back. I'm quite curious as to why, because he can't get access to Fusion, right?
Yeah,
because he couldn't destroy the Akihiron. That is tough, because then I would say keep the Anguish, search a Maze in the next turn, and then go for the Tekutlika summon.
There's not much else, right? I think he shuffled back anything but the Fusion monster there, so...
Yeah.
And also Denis has still Magnum in his hand.
True. Now in the end phase, we use the effect to add back to the hand, but that immediately also makes us able to activate the effect of our Combined Creation to again have the combination of
Combined Creation and Creation King.
Oh, and we are immediately going to destroy the Regenesis Birth. Smart move by Danilo, because he just knows I only have one Memento card in my graveyard anyways. I will be able to get it back with the Combined Creation. Absolute masterclass here from Danilo.
Great
Magnum
resource
is
management.
activated in the end phase. Banishes the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Gives you more follow-up. You have Lubellion in the graveyard. This is going to be such a tough game for Danilo, especially being at 1,300 life points.
Hear me out. That Magnamut,
It's just gonna attack over SP.
No, but somewhere earlier, just making sure that there is one less Memento name in the graveyard could have been crucial. So just like taking out the Engwich there at an earlier point would have actually been so good. Because that would have meant that he had to also shuffle back the Creation King to even get to the Combined Creation. But now, when the end phase, I think it's still a winnable position for Denis for sure. But let's see.
Do we have a way to modify our attack points without activating an effect? Okay, SP Little Knight is being activated immediately to get rid of the Bestial Lubellion, and I can see why, because Danilo just thinks, hey, if somehow Denis summons a 3000, SP Little Knight is being destroyed by Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit as well. But I mean, at least for Danilo, the card is still away from the field and it's no longer a liability, being at 1,300 life points. Every Haunt Dragon.
It's always scary when you are so low in life points to have an NSP on the field.
What is wrong with my math today? I just said Haunt Dragon, that would be 1,200 damage.
That's true. That's not quite enough. Now Magnamut comes back because, of course, there was another summon of a monster. So that is plenty of... Like, in the long game, now we get another Dragon Surge in the end phase with the Magnamut. That is looking good for Denis here, honestly.
Yep, and of course, with the other Bestial that you now have in hand, you can banish the SP Little Knight as well to put it back in the extra deck and get another draw. I mean, actually, you're just recycling your opponent's resource. Might as well put an Ogre back. Warrior is being summoned now. Everything here has 2,500 attack points, which is not enough to combat any of the monsters on Danilo's side, but I'm very sure that this deck will find a way to remove two monsters.
I mean, maybe we go for Regenesis Lord eventually, but that's also only, I'm saying only, 5,000 attack points it can go up to.
What a weakling.
Yeah, exactly. Can't even challenge that Combined Creation, but now we're going after the Combined Creation finally.
Warrior bounce, and of course you can answer that with the Combined Creation. You can just try to destroy two monsters. I'm quite curious how you're going to play with Bone Party afterwards.
You can chain the Bone Party to this, I would say.
Then you only destroy one monster, no?
No, we already targeted, and the targets don't need to stay, but nothing is being chained. Is there even a Bone Party? Is there Bone Party?
There should be a Bone Party,
no,
except for
it's
the graveyard.
Fusion, right? We
It's
searched
fusion. Yeah, it's fusion and droplet.
Did we not set back in the end phase? Because there must have been a Bone Party,
The
right?
left card is fusion because we searched from the deck, and the middle spell is droplet.
Yeah, but why didn't we set back in the end phase? Because there must be a Bone Party.
There is
in
a
the
Bone
graveyard.
Party, you can see it. It's the lowest.
Yeah, you're totally right, Leo. I think we did not set back in the end phase, actually.
That is huge. I mean, it was a huge turn. Nerves are getting to you at this point. Oi, oi, oi.
Okay, Forbidden Droplet now is taking care to negate. But Danilo on that incredibly low amount of life points. And Druid's Worm now, when we get access to our extra deck, would be an easy way to deal with that Creation King. But is there even tools in the extra deck?
Denis is still locked due to punishment from the extra deck.
Was that last turn? Wasn't that 2 turns ago? That felt like ages ago.
It was on Danilo's turn, right?
Was that even this game?
No, I don't think so.
Are you sure?
Maybe this was in game 1. But right now, I'm just considering how Denis is going to out this field. Druid's Worm, yes, of course, can crash and then send the combined.
Leo, there's the answer. Just search. Regenesis Lord. The Lord is able to get incredibly big, and there it is. It can double its attack in the battle phase.
You can still fusion, or has nothing been destroyed yet? Wait, how was the...
That's the game! Denis equals the score! 1-1 with such a unique deck at the biggest stage that there is, the European Championship, with Regenesis Dogmatica. What a madman, but still so successful.
I mean, don't forget about the Bestials. They have done a lot of work. Branded Regained is such an amazing card. It's the spell card of value, I want to call it now. Danilo has had quite a rough turn. The drone Lockbird was very good at the start, basically stopping the entire turn, but if you can only set a droplet and pass, that's not going to help you very much.
And I mean, this is the problem with Droll, is that when you draw your opponent, you need to OTK him, otherwise he has a lot of resources for the turn 3. But as we saw, Genesis, Dogmatica, Beastial is a very good strategy going first. However, I want to see how it will adapt going second against, obviously, a Memento.
Yeah, against Memento, it's always going to be hard. A decision from Denis is, in the main deck, not to run any Mulchamis, which is quite the commitment. I think in the room, he probably is one of maybe 10% of people that is not running any Mulchamis in the main deck.
I mean,
think
we
there's
have
more?
23% Malice players, and there have been quite a few Malice players who've actually said, I'm not running any Mulchamis, I'm just playing those low-impact hand traps to have a half-bot on my opposing side and then just Malice through it.
No, you're definitely right. But in the side deck, we're making up for it. There's both Fuvalos and Perulia. So there is those cards certainly coming in here. But we also got to say, Memento is the deck that has plenty of ways, whichever Mulchami is resolving, to find a way to play around it. So
if I had to choose a deck to play around all the Mulcharmies, it would be definitely Memento.
Same.
Because it has a lot of routes that you can take to play around each of the Mulcharmy that it gets hit.
And in most of these routes, you actually give your opponent 2 to 3 draws, but then you have your full combo after 2 to 3 draws. So it's actually still a huge field. The only problem is if people start playing those other hand traps like Nibiru, like Infinite Impermanence again together with the Mulchamis, because then you still get interrupted in your combo. And if they throw 3 hand traps at you, you end on a half field. They still have 6 cards in hand when they start their turn. Then it becomes really dangerous for you.
That's true. That's very true. So we will have to see how things are looking. Players are ready. Only one more game to be played here in our first feature match after, although the penultimate round, as Ed was saying it. So let's go back to the table. Game 3 starts now.
All right. Danilo going first here. That is what Memento wants to do. Do you have an Anguish? This is technically a start. Oh, that is a very interesting card on the side of Danilo. That is Heatwave. It's getting hot in here. And Denis is probably going to start sweating because of that, because he's not going to have a big second turn, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but the thing is, Danilo is not going to do anything either. He's setting his monster and is passing it over. Those are 10 Dragon technologies that Danilo is using here. And now, okay. Danilo tells him, yeah, bro, that's why I activated the Heatwave. I don't want any of that.
So the logic behind the Heatwave on Memento is like that it can play on draw phase with cards like Bone Party, for example, and set a mini field and then activate Heatwave on the side of the main phase 1, get 1 more turn and OTK through an empty field, probably.
Yeah, I like that a lot, the strategy. Now, if you're asking yourself, why did Danilo set a monster there? Because you might have seen it is Ash Blossom. That is because he also has the Goblin Biker entrance, and he can actually use that card to tribute the Ash Blossom later on. But if he in his next turn top decks a Memento card, he doesn't want to waste a normal summon there. I kind of like that, having an extra bot on the field there. Oh, wow.
We sent the Chimera there, interestingly enough.
Chimera Technologies.
And I mean, that is going to net us V Dogmatica. Ecclesia sets 1 card and passes it over to Danilo. Oh, okay. Draw phase, Regenesis Coat comes in from Denis now. Quick spell, so that is totally legal, of course. And we do go ahead and summon out the Regenesis Sage here. Pressure is high, tension building up. Denis and Danilo. Not even 8 minutes remaining. Okay. Danilo, do we have a play here now? Oh, Chains Forbidden Droplet. And now we could even technically send like a Memento Fusion to the graveyard, which would get us started for a play.
That kind of helped to get the Memento Fusion into the graveyard. Sage is going to be activated here to send the Archfiend to the graveyard.
Oh, Grand Breakout, Danilo. He wants this to resolve, and it does resolve. There's the Goblin.
And Goblin is not any less good of a starter than Anguish, than Darkblade.
Oh,
there's Ghost Rider, but we have the card by the grave. Ring! Who is it? It is the grave. And now we're just going to combo off. And Totland, Goblin, we have the fusion in the graveyard already, so we can go getting. There's a handshake. Danilo wins the game. He is on 8 wins, 9 wins now, 1 loss, 1 draw, 1 more round to go into the top cut. And I'm telling you, it's looking pretty sweet for him with a 9-1 record even.
For sure, looks like he may be able to take this all the way now into the top cut here again at the European Championship. And that Ogre, that was the one moment against Memento where the Ogre could have been really good if not for the call by the Grave. Because after that, I don't know how Danilo would have even continued, because he can't activate the fusion anymore as there is no longer a monster on the field. And I don't think he had another fusion in hand. Even if he had, there were no multiple momentum monsters out there anyhow. So that Ogre would have been huge if not for the call by the Grave, though.
And I mean, at the time, Denis waited for the correct moment to activate Ogre, because it was a very interesting hand against Memento, because you have to use it on the right moment, because obviously you don't want actually to destroy Memento monsters, except like cases like this.
I'm telling you right now, if my opponent sets an Ash Blossom and tributes it for Goblin Breaker Grand Breakout, I will Ogre the Goblin. I will throw everything at this little Memetotling Goblin that I have ever had.
I will always throw an Ogre at a Momentum Goblin. I would even go that far. Like, I think Ogring a Goblin is just something
if
pretty
it's the
smart.
only monster on the field.
Yeah, of course. Okay, yeah. Fair. No, very,
Always
very
is a
true.
big word.
Yeah,
We
no,
know what you
you're totally right. You're totally right. I do agree. And that was very impressive from Danilo. Danilo, one of the standout names, of course, from the European scene here. Talking about a couple of others. I know watchers, viewers at home are rooting for certain people. I've seen that Joshua Schmidt is currently also still on an X1 record and therefore doing really, really well for himself, collecting another Top Cut appearance maybe. Then we have Herman Hansen, who's also qualified, of course, for the World Championship this year through Master Duel. Once again, going crazy, being on an X1 record as well, being a powerhouse in the TCG as well, of course.
There's a bunch of players who are still in that are already qualified for the World Championship. This could be very, very interesting with the top 4 matches potentially.
I mean,
yeah, true.
If you get both invites, what do you actually choose?
I think they're already qualified for Master Duel, so I think that is already what they have locked in for the very moment. So, but if we get to that point, that is something to think about then, right?
That's not for us to think about.
Exactly. We're not the ones deciding. We're not the ones deciding. Someone we always have to mention, Lorenzo Muselli, came so short to actually get into the playoff. I think in the end he turned out to be 17th place, so he was the one just not making it into the playoff on Friday, but going absolutely strong in the main event again on, I think, an X1 record this time around as well, which is crazy. So maybe it's this time his moment to shine, because, I mean, 2-time Italian national champion.
Yeah.
You got to give it to him. He's a powerhouse in the community as well.
We have quite some strong players who are from Italy. One of them is Danilo Siracusa, and we are ready for the analyst interview.
Hello again, everyone. I'm here with Danilo, the winner of our Round 11 feature match. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So for viewers who are also watching on Friday, might recognize Danilo winning a feature match. Didn't quite make it through all of that playoff, but you did a fantastic job winning the feature match. How are you feeling now in the main event?
I think I should be locked in for Top Cut now, so I'm very happy and relaxed. Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, I was going to say you're like very near, almost like mathematically in.
Yeah.
Always worth winning that last round if you can, but yeah, it's a very good spot to be in.
Yeah.
So you played today against Regenesis. Have you played against them before?
No, I mean, at locals, yeah, it happened a couple times, but I'm not super familiar with every card.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very grindy deck, and it looked like all of the games were quite long and quite intense, so there's a couple of clips to go over. So here we have in the first game, there was that one interaction. It looked like you were trying hard to clear all of the monsters off the field, but then there was the time you stole the Baldrake, but then he still summoned another Regenesis. Were you familiar with this?
Yeah, I thought he had to control the 2500, and yeah, it's my bad. But it was fine in the end because it's a free fodder for the Goblin spell to summon follow-up, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, so it was very like back and forth. We saw at the beginning you started with that Perulia. That's quite a novel thing. Is that just to play around Vanquish Soul maybe?
Yeah, because there is no value in my deck to keep Charmies in hand. I don't have really any discard cards. The only thing I can use them for is to fusion summon Guardian Chimera with it. So I had both Fuvalos and Purulia, but I just said I'll discard it. Worst case scenario, a Bestial, a Nibiru, whatever, it's a free draw.
And we saw the draw on Lockbird there, which kind of looked like it put a bit of a damper on your opening. Is that normal, or do you think a good hand would play through it a bit better?
My hand was very weak. Anguish is not my favorite starter, and is like one of the weaker one into draw. And I had the Goblin spell, but I didn't feel like I could do that much resolving it, and it would have played hard into other stuff, so I prefer to save it in case he had some other interruption for me.
Fair enough, that makes a lot of sense. In the next clip, we see you just like taking game one. Eventually, it was very long and hard-fought game. Your opponent's got a lot of interaction. You've got a lot of interaction. How did you go about navigating this? Were you focused on ending the game in the way that you did with the combined creation?
I had the 2 ways to kill. So one was with Akiron triggering, so I could attack directly with the level 9 or higher. And the other one was just to clear my every monster I had except combined creation and attack every monster for game. Yeah.
So this is like one of your favorite patterns then, is that you can destroy everything, make sure you get rid of all of your opponent's interruptions, and then attack with everything.
Sweep, yeah.
Yeah, got to be very satisfying at the end there, as you see, just like attacking all of their attack position monsters. Were you thinking about the different types of interaction they have? Obviously, there was the fact that they can summon monsters on your turn. They do seem to have like limited number of interactions with the warrior and then maybe the bull drake, but any hand interactions, anything like that?
I could have played around pretty much any hand interaction probably with the hand that I have, so I was just trying to force out as many cards as I could before I felt safe going into battle phase.
Yeah, and it looked like you did exactly that, and we're just about to see you attack for game. Must be nice to watch again. Yep. And, oh yeah, here we are, so let's just watch it out here. You're about to attack. You use the Bone Party as well.
I didn't need to, but it's fun.
Just in case they manage to switch all of their monsters to defense mode. So let's go over to game 3 now, or game 2 even. So this was after quite a lot had already happened. You'd passed the turn, and they'd passed the turn pretty much to your draw on Lockbird. And here we see you draw your first memento, summon Anguish. How are you navigating this? Because this looked really complicated. It looked like you searched Sleepy as your first search. It was a bit uncommon.
So my idea was to add Sleepy and to try to summon Twin Dragon. But since he used the trap, I had to change my plan midway through. And I forgot the spot exactly, but I got around something specifically. I could have popped the Sleep in my hand to trigger it on Twin Dragon, and I could have kept playing from that.
Sure, but you weren't able to do quite as much as you wanted to here. Yeah, I mean, it was like very complicated. I assume you were playing around the potential Book of Moon trap as well. Yeah. Is this, you say you played it at locals, but you haven't played a lot, I guess?
No, only a couple times, I think, in the past few months.
Yeah, and we saw here at the end of it, you had to read the Regenesis Lord. Was that something you just hadn't seen before?
I have a rough idea what the card did. I just said I make sure it didn't have any negates in battle phase, because I had like a fusion play to make a Twin Dragon, add a couple cards, summon a body or two, but I have the graveyard empty because I forgot to set my Bombard in the end phase because we were caught up by all the stuff happening. And so I just forgot to declare the field spell to set Bomb Party. With Bomb Party, I think I would have probably won the game from that, because I could have started summoning Anguish from deck, Sleepy, summon Sleepy, Fusion, add, summon, yeah.
Yeah, so you have a lot more tricks to kind of help you survive the turn, but in this case, was there just nothing to stop the 5,000 attack? Right, well, in the last game, we saw a very interesting card. So talk to us about this technology here, Heatwave.
So it's the best going first card you can play in this deck, because most of the starters are slow effects. So you can Heatwave to trade with a Mulch Army, or your opponent might activate in standby phase. You set a starter that is a slow effect that will like ignite during the main phase, and you just pass turn. So you basically just use the Upstart Goblin, double summon, and you have the battle phase in one card. And also it pairs very well with Bomb Party in draw phase, because I can summon Twin Dragon or Creation King to set up my entire follow-up, and then in main phase I can activate Heatwave.
Wow, so you can actually do quite a lot before even main phase 1 and then activate Heatwave. That sounds very powerful. So here we saw you set the Ash. Why did you choose to set that?
Because in case I drew a normal summon, I already had a body to tribute for the Goblin spell I had in my hand.
Okay, so it was for the Goblin spell. That makes a lot of sense. And then obviously your opponent was a little tripped up there. They didn't quite realize they weren't allowed to summon anything. So where did you come up with this idea for Heatwave? Was it something you
it's
saw
not my
Tenpai?
idea. My friend found it out. So shout out to the Parlamento guys. So yeah, they just put me on it, and the card has been amazing.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. You just won round 11. As you say, you're very nearly in for the top cut. So are you feeling like you're going to take it all the way?
That's the goal. I'm trying. I'm trying my best.
Well, I hope everyone at home enjoyed the feature match, enjoyed seeing Danilo for a second time this weekend. It's always fun to have you here. And you must be feeling pretty great at these feature matches, your 2-0 in feature matches. So everyone, please join us soon for round 12.